CGI can make or break a movie. And unfortunately for these, it's the latter. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for another top 10 worst CGI effects in movies. For this list, we are looking at bafflingly bad CGI that didn't draw us into the story but only made us laugh and shake our heads at their blatant failure and artificiality. Also, the movie has to have made an honest effort, so no intentionally bad B-movies like Sharknado or anything of that sort. If there's something you think should be on the list but isn't, be sure to check out our first video on the subject, Top 10 Worst CGI Movie Effects, to see if it's there. Also, there are some spoilers to come, so spoiler alert.
Enough is enough! I have had it with these snakes on this plane!
Number 10. Parallax vs. Green Lantern, Green Lantern. With a $200 million budget and the DC name behind you, you'd think we would get some decent special effects. Well, think again. Parallax, the main villain of this superhero flick, looks terribly goofy and fake. And it doesn't help that Green Lantern himself looks like a video game character half the time. They even had to use computer effects for the eye mask Hal Jordan wears when he becomes the Green Lantern. Couldn't they have just slapped a real mask on him? With subpar efforts like this, it's no wonder Marvel is reigning supreme. Number 9. Han Solo meets Jabba the Hutt, Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope, Special Edition. The classic Star Wars is not without its faults. Well, that's not entirely true. At least this scene wasn't in the original 1977 version. It wasn't until the 1997 re-release in theaters that audiences saw this scene for the first time. And it was even further improved in the 2004 DVD release.
Look, Jabba, next time you want to talk to me, come see me yourself. Don't send one of these twerps.
Maki cheese.
Suffice it to say, audiences were not exactly thrilled. Shot in the 70s with a human playing Jabba, the scene was cut from the original release. But with George Lucas reinserting the scene 2 decades later with a CGI Jabba, it all looked highly artificial next to the human Harrison Ford.
Yaba madukimasu. Ich wong chikok panagring na miloto bunky dongo.
We can safely say that many of the effects from the 70s looked better than this new Jabba did. They seriously thought that having Han digitally walk on Jabba's tail would be a good way to deal with the revised Jabba design in Return of the Jedi?
Never no pace Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight.
Number 8. Mary Jane the Monster, Scooby-Doo.
I saw my friend Beth Ann. There's something wrong with her eyes.
Like how blind?
In this 2002 live-action adaptation of the famous Scooby-Doo animated series, Scoob and the gang travel to an island to investigate strange goings-on.
Like what is that?
In this scene, Mary Jane is riding ATVs with Shaggy and Scooby when her head hits a branch, causing her face to become monstrous, complete with green eyes and stretchy skin.
Like doggy!
The green eyes look bad enough, but it's the skin stretch that looks terrible, as you can clearly see where Isla Fisher's real face stops and the CGI takes over. Still, this is probably scary for the kids, at least.
Yeah. Man, oh man, are you all right? Oh, you were great.
You too.
Number 7. Wolverine's Claws, X-Men Origins, Wolverine. With the X-Men name behind the movie, it seems like a given that there'd be some great science fiction-oriented special effects. But sadly, 'twas not the case for this 4th installment of the series. Instead, we get awful-looking claws and CGI that only takes us away from the story that much more quickly. The claws are very clearly not coming out of Wolverine's hand, but are instead superimposed over actor Hugh Jackman's real hand. We should also mention the ladder scene, which makes little sense and looks even worse. These are laughably bad efforts for such a high-budget film. Number 6. Space Monkey, Lost in Space. This sci-fi adventure, which follows the Robinson family as they emigrate to a nearby star system, was adapted from the 1960s TV show of the same name. However, that series probably had better special effects than this. The main detractor is an alien primate that's adopted as a pet, and that also looks downright terrible.
Looks like you made a friend. Still, I'd wait a few weeks before tattooing her name on your arm.
It is blatantly obvious the actors had nothing to work with, and it is so poorly integrated, we can't help but be distracted from the action of his scenes.
Don't evolve.
This is one interstellar journey that could have done with a higher budget.
We're both a long way from home, aren't we, little one?
Number 5. Russell Franklin's Death, Deep Blue Sea.
Now you've seen how bad things can get.
Samuel L. Jackson deserves better than this.
Well, they can get a whole lot worse.
This movie is about a group of scientists looking for a cure for Alzheimer's, which results in the creation of super intelligent sharks. So you know there's gonna be some campy fun. But this is just inexcusable.
We're going to pull together and we're gonna find a way to get out of here.
What is admittedly a surprising death is simply ruined by the horrible-looking shark and the clearly CG'd Jackson. The computer spurt of blood only adds to the fakery, making Jaws, released almost 25 years earlier, look that much better. What could have been a horrifying scene instead leaves us laughing. Number 4. Power Plant Overload, Escape from LA.
Slow down, dickhead. I'm the one who's dying.
Let's go. Power Plant Overload.
Making back only half of its budget, this sci-fi action flick's failure could arguably be due to its abysmal special effects. A sequel to the 1981 original, Escape from LA sees the return of Snake Plissken as he recovers a dangerous device from the City of Angels.
Guidance systems malfunction. You no longer have controls to function.
This scene in particular is atrocious, with a clearly fake submarine, and it only gets worse from there. The crash into the building looks like it's from a cheap video game, not to mention the disproportionately large and very fake-looking shark. Maybe they just should have left the original alone. Number 3. Snake Attack, Anaconda 3, Offspring. Here, it's the very snake from this made-for-TV horror movie's title that leaves us laughing. The sound effects actually sound somewhat good, and the point-of-view shots establish a decent sense of terror, but that terror quickly subsides when we get a better look at the horrible-looking serpent. While it's supposed to be intimidating, we can only laugh at the bad lighting, video game-like movement, and complete lack of realism when it appears. Giant snakes may be scary for some, but we don't think they actually were for anyone in the case of this movie. Number 2. Langoliers Attack, The Langoliers. This TV miniseries, released as a film on home video and based on a Stephen King novella about a group that finds themselves in another dimension, should have a terrifying finale. But the awful CGI completely takes us out of the horror. Not only do the Langoliers themselves look completely goofy as monsters, but you can actually see the pixels and raw animation. Even the runway becomes CGI, and it looks like an old pixelated PlayStation game. The eating of the scenery looks equally awful, like it's simply erasing the scenery rather than eating it. The master of horror deserves better. Before we unveil our top pick, here are some honorable, or in this case dishonorable, mentions. Number 1. Liu Kang's transformation, Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Based on the famous video game series that depicts people literally ripping each other apart, this martial arts movie is bound to be a little corny. This particular scene depicts Liu Kang's animality, in which he shapeshifts into a creature to finish off his opponents.
Oh, nah, I done seen everything.
Yep, it looks as dumb as it sounds. The actual transformation looks incredibly fake against the real actor, and the actual beast itself, while supposed to be intimidating, simply comes across as laughable. It almost looks like paper against the backdrop. Actually, they might as well have done it that way and saved some money. Do you agree with our list?
15, Jabba, don't push it.
What awful CGI movie moments do you think we should have included? For more hilarious top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.
You know I won Mortal Kombat.